Today we are going to talk about a rather important topic when building applications with AI, and that's evaluations or evals. It's similar to testing in normal applications, but to me, I think it's even more important than testing in normal applications. So if you are a solo developer, indie hacker, you're building relatively small apps, you may not need unit tests or even integration tests. You could build all of that in one go on one development branch and then push it to production. And basically your production will serve as a certain test. Your users sometimes will tell you if there is something crashing. You will see it also in dashboard logs. But when working with AI, a lot of times you may not have your app crashing, but the quality could degrade. The quality of the responses, you could have hallucinations. A user could be led into paths that they do not want, but they could not potentially describe those issues to you easily. So it's very important to have evals as you build applications that grow in complexity, where you potentially have dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of calls to different AI models. So today we're going to start with a simple example, how to just get started prototyping with evals. And then we will see that we have a tool that we can use, prompt foo, and we'll just work through a simple example. So we're going to use prompt foo, which is an open source library for evaluations. It's recommended by both OpenAI and Anthropic developers, especially those that build solutions for other companies. So as you can see, it's used by quite a lot of developers. It's especially recommended for prototyping when you start really using evals, as when you get into more complex situations, you potentially use more advanced solutions. But for us, just learning, this is a great start. We'll have a very simple example. Here I have just a TypeScript project with some data. I'm going to make the AI figure out who in these races is the likely winner. So there are participants in each race and they use a different means of motion. So here Speedy Sam has a sports car, he's fighting someone with a kangaroo, and Tina is on a jet ski on land. So we have some examples of these races and then we try to guess the likely winner. Some of them are relatively simple, and then in some of them I've put some trick questions. So for example, a jet ski on land, it's a bit tricky because if it's on water, I'm not sure what's faster, a jet ski or a sports car, but I know that a jet ski on land is definitely not faster than a sports car. And we're going to use three types of prompts. A simple prompt, where we're just telling the AI you're an expert racing judge, you're provided a statement about a race, guess who is the likely winner. A little bit of a better prompt using examples, a few shot examples, so that you tell the AI, okay, this is how the race statement will look like, this is how we want you to answer. And we have a reasoning prompt where we're going to use O1 Mini, and here we explain the steps that the model should use. So you identify the means of motion of each competitor. Are they using their body or using a vehicle? Then we're going to ask it to identify if there is a hindrance in the environment. And then we ask it to identify the top speed of each mean of motion and whether it should be netted off against these impediments. And then pick the fastest net speed as the likely winner. So it will be interesting. I'm not sure if O1 Mini will get to the conclusion, but I thought it could be a little bit fun rather than having some kind of summary exercise. So let's start by installing prompt foo, pnpm add prompt foo. Wow, that installs a lot of dependencies. I hadn't realized, but there we go. And then we're gonna initialize. I think we need to do pnpm tlx when it's just a module. What would you like to do? Not sure yet. Improve prompt and model performance, improve RAG performance, improve agent. Let's choose improve prompt and model performance. So we're going to have, so which providers would you like to use? Providers are just the AI models, basically. And here I'm going to use OpenAI. Cool. Okay, so after initializing the project, we're gonna get a prompt foo config.yaml file. That's where we're gonna steer the evaluations. Description, the prompts, I had shown them in a TypeScript file, but for simplicity, it's better to start with a text file. So I just copied them over into a text file. The variable which will be replaced with each test case needs to be between double squiggly brackets and quotation marks. So you see that the three prompts that we had seen before. So we just need to specify the path, source. Actually, let's just make sure just to be copy the full path, because I'm normally not using text. So let's be sure by providing the full path. The providers are the AI models that we're going to use for testing. It will be GPT-4o mini, 4o, and then o1 mini. Then the tests, it's better to use a CSV file when just starting out. So basically converted the race statement into a CSV file. Prompt foo expects the header of that ground truth, of the true answer, to be called like this. So double underscore expected. So that's the CSV file. Same thing, we're gonna copy the path. Let's just put it in there to make sure we get the right path. And then we're gonna run the eval. So it's npm dlx prompt foo and then eval. Okay, it's happening. And I think you have to have your OpenAI API key exported into your environment. There's probably another way to define it from an N file, but I have it always in my shell. I just recommend it that you have it in your shell because you're gonna work on that all the time. All right, so we got 47 successes and 34 failures. Okay, it wasn't as easy as I thought. And then we can visualize these results. The prompt foo has a nice UI. So pnpm dlx again, prompt foo view, I believe it's called. Let's see. Yes, view. I'm gonna run this. Open URL in browser. Yes. So, pretty neat. So we got this visualization. Okay, so off the bat, I see some of the cases didn't get the expected output. You see expected output, please provide the array statement. So this means there was something wrong with our inputs. And it's in the prompt, the third one, I didn't change the variable. So it should be two squiggly brackets and quotation marks. So let's redo the tests. Okay, we got now 71 successes and 10 failures. To be honest, that was closer to what I had expected, especially that I really put like a nice reasoning prompt. I thought o1 mini should get most of these, but let's now look at the view. I get this one. Okay, so basically these are the different cases that we've had. Each row we had 9 cases. So some of them were a bit more tricky and some of them were easier. And then at the bottom we can see each of these cases. So you can see this was row 1. This is the race description that was passed. And then the expected answer is Speedy Sam. He's using a sports car, right? So all of the models with using the different prompts got it right. But what's more interesting is, well, the failure cases. This one is Camel Kara riding a camel, Unicycle Ulysses on a unicycle, Zippy Zamir piloting a Zeppelin. So the Zeppelin is faster than a unicycle or a camel. But we see with the simple prompt, all of them, oh no, sorry, this is GPT-4o mini, got it wrong. GPT-4o got it correct. So let's see. GPT-4o, oh, interesting. So in this one, we didn't give any examples, so it got it correct. Right, so the model is just better at understanding this. Interestingly, the o1 mini get the wrong aspect. That's surprising. You see, you would think O1 Mini is just smarter and you have spelled out the steps, but maybe it's just one element is something it doesn't know how to do. So then you figure this out with these type of outputs. Yeah, so you see, you can then look at each case and then you can try to figure out which model pass is better for your given outcome. That was just a simple example just to familiarize ourselves with evals. So I plan on making more videos on evals where we go in a little bit more depth. So if you're interested, subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, happy building.